Hello, this is West Crow, and this is week 41 on the weekly Pagan challenge. And this week's question is, do you believe in an afterlife or reincarnation? Well, first of all, this is something I've been thinking about for as long as I can remember. Sorry if this is jiggly, I don't have it set up properly here right now. So, I remember being 5 years old, sitting in the front seat of the car and not able to see out the window properly. I had to kind of like peer up to look out the window. And my mom asked me just randomly if I ever thought about death. And at that point, I was actually thinking about death. At that point, what happens to us after we die? And it is something I had been thinking about for a very long time, trying to figure out my own thoughts of what was going on there. But I knew that she would think I was weird if I told her that I had, so I told her, no, I haven't. And she was happy with that answer. But it's been something I've been thinking about ever since I was little, and it's always been something that I wanted to make my own mind up on. I heard about the Bible, I heard about heaven and hell, I heard about all these other things, but I wanted to make my own mind up about it. And for a long time, I wasn't 100% sure if I believed in an afterlife or what was going on. I did know that I hoped that whatever it was, I would have a quick death. Still as an adult, I hope that too. However I go, I hope it's quick. I've seen grandparents spend months in hospice, and I saw my dad die very quickly of a massive heart attack, and I would prefer to go quickly. Don't know where I heard about the idea of reincarnation or exactly when, but by about 7 years old, I was thinking about it as a serious option, and by about 12, I figured that it made the most sense to me because, you know, energy can't be destroyed, it can only change forms, and that's sort of why it made sense to me. But even though it made sense to me and it seemed like it was a possibility, it scared me because I didn't want to relive life again. I didn't want to be a kid again. I wanted to get out of being a kid. I just didn't want to relive everything again. So it scared the crap out of me. I personally have never really been scared of death itself. The only thing I can say I'm scared about the process with is having a long drawn out death. Like I said, I want a quick death. And as such, I've always had a hard time understanding people's like innate fear of death, because I've always just viewed it as another stage in life. It is as much part of life. It is life. It's not separate from life. It's part of life. And it's as much part of life as like puberty is or any other stage in life is. It's just a stage of life. It's more of a change of state, if anything. At least that's how I view it. So, as far as what I think the afterlife is, I always kind of hoped that you just cease to exist, because especially when I was not in my happier moments, that just seemed like the best alternative. But I do believe in a form of reincarnation. I guess the best way for me to describe what I think of as an afterlife, I don't know if there's necessarily like heaven and hell or places as such. I believe we create those things for ourselves, whether it's in life or in death. I think we recreate that for ourselves. We hold on to things and we trap ourselves in either state. And I think we can do it just as easily in life as we can in death. And maybe that's where ghosts and unfinished business and all that sort of thing comes from, is when we're trapped in our unfinished business, our own personal hell. When we die, we get trapped in those thoughts at that moment, possibly. I don't know. But the best way for me to describe my thoughts on death is, I think we're all kind of like, I'm not sure where I heard this. It's I think it's actually a Buddhist saying. I remember at some point when I was doing my religious studies, it was this phrase in there, and I'm probably not getting the phrase exactly right, but we're all like drops of water returning to a massive body of water. Like, I think they said it was like a still lake or something like that. We're all returning to we're all drops of water returning to the still lake. When we die, our energy is returning to that mass of energy of life force. Mathematically or by chance, I think the molecules and everything that just kind of makes us us, all the little bits and pieces that make us, I believe dissolve into this, and then eventually those pieces come together again, maybe not exactly the same, and maybe they'll go off into different, making other souls, or whatever you want to call it, other beings. These little pieces are used again over and over again. And eventually, if this is what you believe in, or if this is what I sort of believe in, is you'll eventually get something very similar to what you are now. It might be slightly off, or it might have a couple more extra things, a couple less, but it'll be pretty close, but not exact. And I think that's sort of what reincarnation is. At least to me, that's what I think of when I think of reincarnation. That we're not 100% every time that we are reincarnated, but we can be pretty damn close. So yeah, I think that's it for this week.